attendance. Okay, I think we discussed on this performance analysis. Okay, and definitely it's important to capture the information. Right, just a quick note on the performance-related information, the collection of performance. I mean, what we discussed covering financial and non-financial information. Definitely nowadays, the use of apps, isn't it? Computer system, okay, that basically all the database is kept in organizations. So different respective agencies that or units that are responsible for collecting the data to report to the top management or to the respective parent ministries or for policy making purposes. Of course, they can extract from the systems. Okay, that's definitely one way. The major if the performance information are basically related to for organizational level, right, where all information are collected together and managed by certain units. For instance, like if you look at our university, one of the key areas is research. Okay, KPIs on research. So that basically the database is a centralized database. Okay, so that's why, of course, the duty of the individual researchers is to keep their database updated, right? And then to make sure that the latest performance, their research-related performance has been reported to the organizations. So in this case, is our university. And of course, that will be managed by the central units. In this case, it's mainly through RMC, Research Management Unit, as well as directly related to one of the deputy rector, okay, in charge of research. Okay, of course, I mean, there are some performance information that are collected at responsibility centers because the database is at the responsibility center. Or maybe, not all information are basically kept in the database or in the system. So if it is still at the manual, so, still information need to be collected, okay? So that's at least in our university, the reality of collecting performance information. But for the, relatively, I think it's what I can comment at this point. Okay, accountability and governance. For internal performance reporting, reports between ministers and prime ministers. Okay, report between parent ministries and agencies, report to the treasury, right? And of course, within the government organization itself. Okay, in terms of frequency, monthly report, quarterly report, I think performance for now or even online, but I think in terms of reporting to the top management or to the board, to the cabinet, at least it should be monthly report. And of course, when there is a need of issues, then of course, case-to-case basis. So all this information need to be provided. Okay, so how well this information can be provided, there's an issue. If you look at the way government managing COVID, you can see, even they have a centralized secretariat, okay, to collect all the data under the National Council, National Security Council, okay, CPRC, and so there is individuals basically managing the data to make sure reliability of data, accuracy, and that can be reported to the ministries, to the Prime Minister, and then to report to the public. Because I think reliability of data is important because it relates to policies, resource allocation, transfer of resource allocation. I think there was an example where I think as we discussed in class, if there is a need to via the budget, okay, then that can be done. Okay, so and another is about performance also in terms of, because in government they want to create a sense of competition. Okay, it's not a market base, but at least through administration. So ranking is important. It's also useful. Okay, the ranking, but generally ranking nowadays is on for the public universities or for the education mainly. Okay, even local government last time they have star rating. Okay, league table and annual reports, also a platform to disseminate performance information. So league tables, in the case of local government, they have a star rating. Okay, just like public universities. I think other than that, there is no clear evidence of ranking. Okay, because simply right, and definitely a quality-based competition, as we discussed. Right, external performance reporting, okay, through annual reports. So annual reports is to the parent ministry, to the parliament, okay, but at the same time, annual reports can also be shared to the public, right? Ranking and league tables. So you can see this in the case of, so mainly education here. QS, World University Ranking, Times, World University Ranking, MyRA, Setara, this for Malaysian ranking for teaching and research. So research is more on MyRA, I think teaching for Setara. But nowadays, they also include SDG rankings, okay? So somehow this, like QS World Ranking as well as Times, so been looked up by, I mean, the rankings gain its legitimacy, where it is being referred to by the government as well as by the public university itself, including the private universities. So it means that it gained its legitimacy. So it's being used to for the maybe for the potential students, they will look at ranking. Okay, but it depends. Okay, because ranking has its usefulness as well as its limitation. I think our university are aiming for SDG rankings. Okay. Because of our rector basically pretty much involved in SDG. And the university, I mean, the fact that I think it's quite consistent with the values, Islamization and Islamic values, right? And I mean, that is the current policy, by the top management. Okay, before I move on, any question? Quite scary, isn't it, teaching online? Because it's very silent. To tell you the truth. Right. Okay, anyway, no question yet. Can you say something, class? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Only two voice.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
I'm with you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So at least significant majority still with me. Okay. Now we move on. Challenges of performance measurement. I think it's good to know. Because accounting is a measurement field. So one way or another is you are directly involved in this, and particularly in helping the organizations. The only thing is the issue that we discussed is more diverse. It's more not only accounting is basically in charge. Okay, if you look at the manner that I present these topics, it's basically almost sometimes can be a strategic unit. Okay, office of strategy, right? They can also manage. But of course, accountants can play a role. If you look at this university, we have office of strategic objective. Okay, we have a few of our lecturers basically involved in that office, been basically assigned as part of the administrative position to develop to help our rector to develop the strategic framework. So if you look at in the previous class, okay, I share this with you, this strategic framework. So basically, there was a series of deliberation to develop this. And for this university, I also involved in giving the feedbacks, as much as I can because through our colleagues, okay, so I was appointed as, they call it, institutional researcher, okay. I'm one of them, so that we can provide feedbacks. So how we think about, to make sure that, okay, when the performance measurement or management framework being developed is in line with our strategic objectives. Okay, it also should be practical in that sense and can be achievable. So all this, we have to make sure, and something that can really develop this university further. Okay, I think that's why now they are in a very big process, even try to map for the strategic objective, not only within 5 years or 10 years. There was a planning up to 20 years, 30 years. Okay, I think in a way, yeah, because our environment is changing. Okay, that's one way. Another, even to look at the way our students. I think maybe this is another issue to address, because your generation and my generation is very different. Okay, in what sense? In how we learn. Okay, maybe in my time, my learning is more on reading books. Okay, and we are able to read, very long books. Okay, of course, not for everybody. That's why academic is not sometimes, I think it's good. But nowadays, people are all reading. They read a lot, isn't it? But they read a lot through digital platform. Okay, read and also watching. Okay, watch of short videos and all that. So that's dimension, that dynamics need to be incorporated in how we approach our students. Okay, so that you can learn, because the idea of learning is basically it's not narrow or surface learning. Yeah? So learning should be deep learning. Okay. Okay. Of course, I mean, pretty much, pretty much of what we discuss in class. So at least you can make sense of it. That's one understanding. At the same time, you'll be able to, analyze further, or synthesize, or make new ideas. Okay. So because if you look at universities, generally, of course, we may not be able to develop very advanced technology, but the information that's been shared from the university become the catalyst, okay, for all the developments. Okay, so if you look at in the US, that's why I think even in this country, I mean, if you look at source of innovations, okay, diverse, okay, from both private and public sectors. Okay, and okay, we continue. Right, challenges of performance measurement: insufficient information, performance data are not collected. Okay, source of performance data are from multiple sources, as I mentioned, and difficult to obtain performance data on time. Right, so basically try to collect data. So that's why the owner of the data, because I think that's the basic. If the owner of the data, the KPIs, they have to make sure that the KPIs related to them need to be reported. Okay, because if they don't, then at individual level, they not be able to demonstrate their performance. So that will affect their promotion. Okay, their annual performance assessment. Okay, because performance need to be assessed at individual level, at staff level, at the responsibility center level, as well as a university, okay, or at the agency as a whole. So performance data need to be updated. Okay, if fall short of if they're not completed, then they may not be able to show or to report to within the agency, as well as to the parent ministries and the parliament, particularly when to justify certain budgets and all that. So performance data is important. Less quantifiable objective. Objective may not be difficult to measure. Okay, this also can be difficult. Benefits and welfare of public, improve the standard of living, quality of health and education. Okay, so sometimes it's difficult to measure. So what is the best proxies? Okay, so of course, I mean, the development of KPI, as we discussed, need to, to engage with all the stakeholders so that we can, and also multiple KPIs can address this problem as well. Challenges in infrastructure: lack of relevant expertise among civil servants about performance measures. Okay, but that can be learned through time. That's why, I mean, both sides, government can, can hire consultants, okay? But they hire consultants, but consultants cannot work alone, okay? They must work closely with the professionals within the public service, okay? Because sometimes the professionals or the civil servants, they don't have enough sufficient resources or time, okay, to develop a new system, okay, because of their current workload is already more than enough, okay. So they need help, support. So through engaging with the relevant consultants, okay, to develop. But consultants cannot just work based on best practice globally, but without looking into the local context, okay. Otherwise, their solution will not be relevant. Okay, underutilization of managerial accounting information system. Okay, the absence of relevant institutional incentive to promote efficiency and effectiveness. Okay, so these are some challenges. But of course, solution of time, support by the top management, and also alignment. Okay, there's a lot of alignment. Alignment here means, okay, top management and local managers. Okay, everybody have priorities. Their managerial priorities. Okay, but because if you look at our university, for instance, top management may have, we at the faculty, we also have our strategic priorities based on our understanding. Because to deliver the services, the best education, okay, for accounting as a degree program, for Islamic finance, for economics, for business administration, the experts are here, okay, they're not at the center. So we need to develop what are important to develop the most relevant curriculum and set up for our students. Okay, so that's why the inputs are very important. So, but both sides need to be aligned so that it can be achievable. Everybody, can work, and we can develop such a good system. Okay, that can promote, the strategic objective of organizations. Okay, PMS adopted but not useful for strategic purposes. Okay, no clear linkage between KPIs of agencies and outcome. Okay, it can be possible, right? And the agency's activity impact on results and outcome. Okay, for instance, Department of Environment to improve air and water quality. Okay, as an example, or maybe Department of Water, because there are multiple factors that are involved. Okay, so that's need to be recognized. I think these limitations need to be recognized. And but nevertheless, the KPIs must be there. It's just that a matter of justification. If the agency or individuals or the responsibility centers, they cannot achieve their KPIs, I think it's not outright wrong. Okay, it's just a matter of justification. If there is huge variances, okay, from the targets and from the actual achievement, but can be justified, okay, then definitely, okay, management can decide. Okay, acceptable, not acceptable, or need improvement. So there must be reason. But the idea is all these KPIs provide a benchmark that this is what you need to achieve. If you don't, explanation need to be provided. Okay, fine. But with the explanation, is it justified? Is it relevant? So all these need to be part of decision making. Influence of government, and secondly, influence of government in ensuring achievement of government policy. Government is not the sole factor in ensuring any achievement of the PSO objective. Interdependency of various government organizations to address the policy problem can pose coordination challenges. Okay, I think maybe simple example here is water problem in Selangor. I think that's very interesting. Okay, water problem. Then definitely there is huge issues of coordination issues. Okay, so there must be missing link in between. Okay, because this issue has been there for not recently. Okay, I think for the past my quick measurement or assessment for the past 10 to 15 years, right? I think I still remember the previous Menteri Besar was complaining on this issue. We said, we have plentiful of rain, and then we have all the water everywhere, but why there is a water shortage? Okay, so so there must be definitely coordination challenge is there. Okay, a very obvious problem, but to provide a sustainable solution. It's not easy, yeah. Including, if you look at Selangor recently, I think in terms of water network may not be a problem. Last time there was problems of engines, filter because of the cleaning capacity of the agency. But now the source of pollution is from basically factories. If you look at these factories, there are two types of factories. One is illegal factories. The other are factories, licensed factories, but not following SOP. So you can see that this is definitely, there was an enforcement issue. Okay, for illegal factories, okay, state government definitely they have to back. Okay, what was the policy? Okay, so they have to be very clear. Okay, because at the same time, you talk about one business communities their issues need to be addressed as well. Okay, so these are examples of problems and challenges. Obviously, it's not easy to solve, but there is improvement, but then there is weaknesses in different areas. Okay, but as a result, the main problem still persists up to this point. Okay, so water problem in Selangor. So even yesterday there was another, but localized in Gombak, but then quickly been addressed. So these issues, okay, it can be strategic in nature, it can be operational in nature, so need to be addressed. Absence of market for the outputs, this is another challenge in performance, because government services are not exposed to the market pressure. Okay, scope of responsibilities and accountability structure are not clear. Okay, I think I did mention here, another example, reducing road accidents, truck problems, multiple agencies. Okay, so that's why I think one way definitely government, when there is involving various agencies, they use a one-stop center concept, okay, or through secretariat, so everybody is basically there and helping. If you look at the security issues, so and definitely COVID, because COVID issues, that's why they have this National Security Council, okay. So basically, multiple agencies and ministries are working together. KKM, okay, the Home Affairs, okay, the Army, okay, work together, the police, and then you can see that very successful. I think the way the country, the civil service managing COVID is world class. I mean, become global example. That's very good. Okay, so you can see the capacity that already developed. But others are still, if you look at reducing road accidents, still major problems. Okay, of course, I mean, reducing road accidents, generally road accidents, the first blame is to the road users. Okay, but there can be other reasons as well, recognized. Drug problems, okay, is an example. Another, I think, one of the big challenges in public service is illegal immigrants. Because millions of illegal immigrants in Malaysia, okay, and I think it's also, if I'm not mistaken, you can correct me, I think in Sabah, one of the reasons why there was suddenly there was upsurge of these COVID cases. So one of the blames was basically attributed to illegal immigrants, right? So how to address those problems? Tangible results of activities are not expected to materialize for years. Annual measures of outcome may not be appropriate. Okay, but this can be addressed through a bit more long-term performance measure instead of annual targets, so they can have 3 to 5 years target. Okay, need to be recognized, need to be annualized, because then they will be able to achieve. Okay, I think this is both useful for public and private sectors. Using this long-term performance measure. Other vectors, economic trend, demographic environment, and also crises, okay, such as what we face nowadays. So I mean, the performance measurement need to be aligned, okay, need to be flexible enough so that they can accommodate all these changes. Because you must remember, this performance targets, performance measure, once they've been institutionalized in organizations, they've been adopted, okay, information being collected, part of the governance system. So sometimes it's not easy to change, okay, because otherwise If any change, then it requires further deliberation, further process to change the performance measure for the organizations. Okay, next, dysfunctional behavior generated by performance measurement system. I think this is good to know. Okay, sometimes it's not clearly discussed. I think definitely media did not cover this, right? But I think for members of organizations, they should be able to appreciate the limitations. Of course, PMS is important to make sure that the whole organizations work in concert, okay, work together, align that to make sure that they can achieve the objective. But at the same time, if it is overused, if it is not being developed carefully, if it is not used carefully, it can create dysfunctional behavior by the members of the organizations. Okay, including the managers, the personnel, okay, all level of employees. Okay, the first one is tunnel vision. Concentration on areas included in the performance measure scheme, exclude other important areas. Okay, so that tunnel vision is, you know, tunnel, isn't it? So tunnel, people are just looking at the end of the tunnel, try to get yourself released, isn't it, from the problems or from the darkness. Okay, that tunnel vision. So the vision is only what performance measure has been assigned to the managers. So these are the areas of performance or the areas of activities and program that become important to them. Okay, but why it can be an issue if the environment are very dynamic. Okay, new changes, new technology comes. Okay, a new way of doing things, much better, more effective way. But it will not be considered if because of performance measure, they just focus on the set of performance measure need to be for them to discharge. Sub-optimization pursued by managers of their own narrow objective at the expense of strategic goals. Okay, so strategic, if you look at strategic goals, of course, particularly when there is mismatch between the managers' interests and the strategic goals. That's why the KPIs at the local level as well as the strategy level need to be aligned. Myopia concentrate on short-term issues as a long-term factors. So generally, KPIs are 1 year, okay, so short-term in nature. So they are focused on what they have to achieve that year, but maybe there are opportunities to improve the organizations. Okay, if you see now, okay, maybe 3 years, 5 years ago, okay, the coming of this digital technology, then in need of use. Okay, for instance, like, but COVID, of course, have its own advantage. Nowadays, everybody is an expert of using online learning. Sorry. Right, but there was limitations in terms of our IT infrastructure. But the government, I think, quite good in that sense because of their engagement with Google platform. Okay, nowadays we use Google as main platform for our online teaching. If I'm not mistaken, the Google platform that I'm used and share with all of you is basically subscribed by the Ministry of Higher Education. Right, convergence, emphasis on not being exposed as an outlier on any of the performance measure. Avoid detailed scrutiny in the case of management or exception. Okay, not trying to, use or do something beyond the scope of the KPIs. Ossification, a disinclination to experiment with new and innovative methods, right? Because of this, particularly if the KPIs are, not allowed, do not appreciate or do not incorporate innovation as part of the overall performance measurement system. Sometimes this can be done as an overall. That's why our performance measure is very detailed. Nowadays, I think even at university level, now we move to another set of KPIs, but I think more flexible in that sense, because if KPIs are not designed carefully, it's just that it's like I think there was a photo. If you come across, there was a photo where everybody need to use the same tools. Okay, let's say for climbing trees. Okay, that was I think, let's say, the different type of animals but using the same tools, and then they are assessed with the same level of benchmark criteria. So there may not be useful to organizations because talent of the staff is very different. But what is the most important is to capture the talent and to use them for the best of the organization. I think that's with the help of the relevant performance measure, a performance measurement system can capture that. I think our university are moving towards that. But I mean, for other government organizations, definitely they should. I think that's why if you look at nowadays, I think one way to look at it is to create, beside creating the innovative culture, so the performance measurement system should also support that. Because otherwise, if you want to create innovation culture, but the performance measurement did not support, then there is no incentive for the staff, for the employees to get involved in innovations. Okay, gaming altering behavior so as to obtain strategic advantage, setting modest targets. Yeah, this is gaming. I think as we discussed, it's happened in budget. It can also happen in setting the KPIs. Mispresentation. Okay, at the end about creative accounting and fraud. Of course, that's the worst form of misbehavior. Okay, critics and evaluation development of PMS, PM in public sector organizations. Often, public sector managers pursue their own financially oriented PM and pay symbolic attention to multi-dimensional model of imposed PM. Okay, I think the keyword there is financially oriented because it can be traditionally that's the main performance measure. Okay, they've been used, they know what it is. Okay, through their experience. But when the new performance measure been introduced, particularly if they are imposed, imposed mean here the parent ministry imposed to the agencies. Agencies imposing to the staff. Okay, so if they are being imposed without good deliberation, okay, good feedbacks, so that there is modifications to make sure that everybody is satisfied with the performance measure, then this issue can be arise. Pay symbolic attention. It means that they will report. Okay, they will report the KPIs if it is requested, but the KPIs are not being used as part of their decision making. Okay, there's no substantive use of the performance measure, so may not be able to change the way organization being managed. Okay, so which way of the performance measurement use that can lead to improvement or to better services? Okay, for reporting purposes only, or the managers they use in their decision making? Which one? Class, any answer? Wow. Assalamualaikum.
No, sir.
Huh? No means what? No improvement? Which one?
No question, sir.
Oh, no question? No, I'm asking question just now. Okay, one more time. Huh? Right, the first point there. Okay. If performance measure, they can be used for reporting purposes, right? But it is not used in decision making. Okay. Which one will improve will improve their services? Will improve the organization as well as will improve the services that they provide for reporting purposes, or they use in their decision making? Which one?
Use in decision making.
Decision making, sir.
Yes, okay. They use in their decision making. Okay, it may sound funny to you that how come you report performance measure, but it's not useful in managing your organization. Yes, but it can happen. Okay, it can happen. Particularly when those performance measures are peripheral, they're not representing what are the considered strategics or priorities for the local managers. Okay, so they can report, but have very little impact on the way they manage the budget and the organizations. Okay. Second, strategic PM not used for operating level of decision making, while the financially oriented still largely in use. Okay, so input based, finishing the budget. Okay, what being planned initially, they execute. Okay, if the planning is quality planning, fine. But if there is a sudden need of changes, then can create problems. Of course, generally nowadays, I think all managers, they have that flexibilities. They have that flexibilities. But then if the performance measure did not recognize those initiatives, so it's more on like personal personal values. So sometimes they take certain action. Of course, it's very important for maybe for the target customers, for the units that they manage, but not recognized by the organization. Okay, because there is a loopholes in the performance, the way performance measurement being designed. Also possible. PM is not adopted as technical efficiency approach for increasing productivity of public services. Okay, PM adopted to meet external stakeholders' expectations, but leading to window dressing. So these are the possible critiques. But it doesn't. But of course, critics means here. Okay, these are the highlights. It doesn't mean that it cannot be solved. But it can be solved. Okay, PM was used to comply with external demand of accountability. Okay, it's very similar to that I just mentioned just now. Performance measure being imposed by parent ministry or by the treasury is part of legitimacy. Okay, versus substantive change. Okay, so these are. And PM4 was not used to improve client-related performance. Managers use one set of performance measure to satisfy external scrutiny. The same managers internally adopt more realistic measures for internal performance assessment. Okay, by right, they both are equally good. So what being reported for accountability should also reflect what is important for them to provide the services. Okay, so that's why dialogue, more alignment within organizations with the parent ministry need to be done. Okay, maybe, but it can be still happen because the parent ministry may disagree with the set of measures set, so they want to follow what is being dictated. There must be reason, but in any case, even if they want to basically make the organization to change, there are strategic issues. But still, at the end, because you talk about the same people, same group of employees or civil servants, because they within their capabilities. Okay, in one hand, they have to plan for the changes, and another, of course, let them to manage because the expertise is in their hands. Okay, but if there are limitations of the organizations to respond, okay, to the new strategic directive, okay, given by the Prime Ministry, but I think they should be given time, okay, to adopt. Okay, it can be within 1 year, it can be more than 1 year, because if you look at strategic issues, generally they are long-term in nature. Okay, 10 years, okay, 5 to 10 years. So the organization need to be allowed to adapt, okay, before rather than just simply quickly being imposed with the set of performance measure, but they cannot basically use their existing capabilities or capacities to meet those performance measure. Okay, that transition or that room for adaptation need to be allowed by the policymakers. Okay, now we move to performance measurement initiative in the Malaysian government. Right. Okay, specific initiative, but most of these are already discussed. Let's get on financial management reforms. We just have more highlights when we discuss this topic. So we talk about our OBB, outcome-based budgeting, and then we have MBS, about the program agreement. Accrual accounting, okay, to support overall, okay, can be for reporting as well as for internal financial information. Activity-based costing, okay, as a system to support certain measures, basically the unit cost and activity costs and others. Internal auditing system, accountability index, okay, this also encourage good use of public money. I think on accountability index, we'll discuss a bit more on internal audit for the auditing topics. but I can consider that as part of the overall performance management initiative by the government. With regards to major reforms, okay, we talk about TQM, benchmarking, okay, ICT in government, including My Results, right, as a software, a system, apps that basically to support outcome-based budgeting. And then National Blue Ocean Strategy, GTP, Star Rating Index, as an example. So you can see multiple initiatives that have implications on performance measurement in organizations. Right, I think we discussed about outcome-based budgeting that have multiple level of performance measure, not only within the agency, but they move towards overall at the government level, okay, national level as well as ministry level. Okay, so these are the linkage. You can read them from MBS, and there is accrual supported by the accountability index. Okay, once you have the performance information, then how to basically monitor and also performance assessment. Okay, monitoring and evaluation, a performance management tool that integrates all key components of an integrated result-based management system. Okay, so monitoring tracks key performance indicators at different program level so that intervention can be done to keep program or projects on track. Evaluation demonstrates accountability and assess the achievement or failure of a program. Okay, all these mechanisms basically, at least for evaluation, should be done at least once in 5 years. So the example is My Results. Okay, so you can, I think we can have a look here. My Results. Can you see this? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, yes. So this is the website basically helping the civil servant when they update or upload on the performance measure for outcome-based budgeting. Okay, so because of, I think, of course we cannot see the details inside. These are basically restricted areas, but they provide manual. I think I shared the manual, so I already download for you. Okay, but it is in Malay, unfortunately, because we have an international student. But I think the photo and the diagram, you can tell what information is there. Okay, particularly they start from here, okay, from national outcome. So there are various. So if you can see, this one basically performance framework at national level. Okay, so all the details. I think the idea of looking at this manual, just to give you an idea, that information can be collected through the system. Okay, so I think nowadays Malaysian government are big supporters of big data, and definitely using e-government, e-procurements. So it's not new for them, just like yourself. So they have all the system to collect the performance information on time, okay, real time. Okay, right. You can read this, right, for your information. I'm not going to test you for the exam, specifically for this manual, okay? But I think the understanding and an interesting part was the service provider for this app is basically, they call it Senti Software. Then I have a quick look. So Senti Software. Okay, these are government basically suppliers. But I think quite let me try this. Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so apparently these are the supplier for the software. An interesting part was the CEO. The CEO is basically same batch with me from UIA. So I just text him. So they get the job. You see, can they support for the government? So my same batch, but I think he's in economics, right? So you can see that how government basically they have the system in this case to develop, okay, to collect the performance information. I think that's the idea that I'm showing you. Okay, so it's interesting because this the whole how they measure the targets, develop the targets, but develop not so much because these are system. But when they collect, but how they going to even the code color coded the performance achievement. This so have a. I think in UI also we have that kind of system. Okay, have a look so that you have better ideas. Okay, what we are discussing in this class. Right, another challenge. Any questions? Okay. Another challenge for in Malaysia, quality and completeness of performance information, no enforcement mechanism to ensure that ministries submit the data when required. No mechanism to verify and validate the quality of data submitted. Okay, the volume of data generated risks overwhelming staff and in turn obscuring potentially meaningful findings. Okay, I mean no enforcement, I think possibly in OBB, I mean, because now the Prime Minister itself basically monitoring the KPIs, but to what extent this is still in place, okay, not sure. But if it is Prime Minister, because this OBB initiative also the Prime Minister office directly related, okay, so that kind of tone from the cabinet ministers and top management is very important. No mechanism to verify and validate the quality of data submitted. This definitely can be through, I think nowadays apps, all this information system. Okay, yeah, to a certain extent. Possibly now in the future, we can use also this blockchain, isn't it? To make sure data reported are basically from the original source. Okay, and these are all challenges to improve. But of course, at the end, all the system when you want to develop must exceed the threshold, cost and benefits analysis. You're not going to invest simply for investment, but the returns are very low. Okay. Right, a capacity to use performance information to analyze performance information for appropriate policy responses, big data analysis capability, use of performance dashboard, staff capacity, skill, and experience to perform credible evaluation. Of course, all these need to be taken into account. Challenges, but can be solved. Okay, another tools to encourage greater focus on performance. Reward system are not well aligned. Okay, outstanding performance and poor performance are not addressed through the system. And there is a risk that ministries and departments will lose interest and view OBB as only another reporting burden placed upon them. Or individual performance, civil service management policies and practices for talent management were not developed with OBB in mind. Performance information may not be perceived by senior policymakers or parliament as sufficiently valuable to inform their decisions on budget. Okay. Authority of program managers to manage, accountability for performance need to be aligned with authority to manage budget. Although OBB has given program managers greater flexibility over relocation of funds between line items, there's still some constraints, okay, including personal spending. Okay, because sometimes data cost, personnel cost is quite fixed, so it's not easy to maneuver. But of course, the flexibility. That's why, I think in both sectors, in the private sector now, there are a big call for the professionals to be agile. Even in our accounting profession, they want accountants to be very agile. You know agile? Agile. To be agile. What does it mean to be agile? Maybe the previous words is adaptive, to adapt. Okay, to adapt to the environment. Flexible enough to adapt to the environment. Any comment? Are you agile? Yes, class.
Not really, sir.
Not really, sir.
Yeah, because no money yet, huh? Okay, never mind. But develop the habits, huh? It's good habits. It means that you are open for, I mean, it's up to you. It depends on your career objective. It depends on, okay, but I mean, be able to accommodate. Of course, I'm not saying that when we say about changing, is change everything. Of course, but still we have our values, our competencies within that. But there are also new demands of the environment. So how are we going to adapt? Okay, and to be flexible enough. But I think the good part of our accountants, our chartered accountants, our graduates, even ladies, okay, we have alumni, very successful alumni, ladies, sisters, okay. They are in I would say that they are industry leaders, okay, but they still keep the values of what they learned from this university, okay. So amazing. Okay, I think one of them, at least we have two nowadays. We have Sister Yasmin, right? I think now he's with I think major can't remember, but either GLC or but it used to be with Shell. Okay. Another is Dr. Nun Mazila, my senior 1 year. You know, CEO of MIA. Okay. Life example. I think even if you look at the prominent alumni downstairs in the kuliah, you can see various sisters as well. Not only brothers excel in their areas. Okay. Okay, and it's possible. Okay, because as long as you are very, focused on your talents. Where do we stop just now? Okay. Right, the way forward, encourage timely and accurate reporting on performance by ministries and where it's most relevant to the policy decision. Okay, develop the technical capacity to evaluate performance information, analyzing big data, performance dashboard in real time for both financial and non-financial performance. I mean, as we speak, I think government basically they use these. If you look at big data, of course, we try to expose our students with big data. Okay, but of course with limitations. But nowadays, I think our focus is on towards audit. But later on, also your ability to become a data scientist, so you can analyze big data for the organizations. Okay, so not only debit credits, because even debit credits, okay, in the future, I think you need to know, but all that be captured by the system. What is important is for you to analyze the information. Okay, but of course, you need to know all the details before you be able to make good decisions. That's one. And then, but I think even if you look at government organizations, recently we have an interview. So one staff from Statistics Department, okay, Department of Statistics. Nowadays, there is a national survey, isn't it? Yes, national survey by Department of Statistics. Are you involved in the survey? The national survey. What is it in the Malay?
Banci.
Banci, yeah, correct, brother. Banci, yeah. Now they develop. Anyway, that's an example. But like the Department of Statistics, there are two or three types, okay, depending. One is unstructured, the other is structured, okay. But I think more survey most likely is more structured big data, whereas the original form of big data is unstructured. That's the big challenge, because you basically, from your understanding, you need to make sense of this information. I think you are very capable, because all of you are tech savvy, isn't it? Are you tech savvy, all of you? Internet tech savvy, online tech savvy, or digital tech savvy? Yes? How you describe yourself in terms of technology savvy? Of course, I'm not. I'm an old man, okay? What about you? All of you. How you describe yourself? Are you tech savvy?
I think most of us are.
Tech savvy.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. I mean, generally, okay, generally. So, of course, your skill sets, okay, we have to adapt, definitely. And, right, yes. So get yourself familiar. But of course, I mean, to a certain extent, there was a call even you need to get exposed to algorithm, but I think that is too much. But anyway, I mean, for your personal, you know what happened after the degree, okay, you have all the backgrounds, you have all the expertise, you know, enough for you to decide, so what area you want to focus on. Okay. Lastly, improve demand for performance information by linking it to individual and institutional recognition reward system to recognize and reward those managers or entities for achieving performance targets, okay, in the right way. Yeah. Okay. Of course, accounting provide a good platform for you to move forward within this time and age. Okay, even if you look at all professional bodies are basically promoting use of digital technology. Yeah. Okay, definitely we are moving towards that a bit more. Okay, at the faculty level, a department definitely part of it. Okay, is already introduced, and but it's just that you need to keep yourself updated. Okay. Okay, that's basically the topic for performance measurement system, right? In the end, only kindness matters. Yes, definitely. Okay, any question? No question. Is it a tough topic or too much to absorb? Or reasonable? Wow, okay. Because no question means you understand everything crystal. Wow. Okay, so, then if there is no questions, I end this. Okay. With wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.